A rare Chinese submarine support ship has just been spotted near Japanese waters, hundreds of miles from where it's usually seen. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, the French nuclear aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle is under close surveillance by Chinese warships. All of this is unfolding in waters also patrolled by the US Navy's carrier strike groups. Something big is shifting in the Indo-Pacific, and it's time we pay attention. Two key developments, both in the last week, reveal just how tense the Pacific theater has become. First, a Chinese Type 925 submarine rescue ship, rarely seen so far east, was tracked by Japan near Amami-Oshima. Second, China closely shadowed the French nuclear carrier Charles de Gaulle as it operated alongside US and Japanese forces. These are not isolated incidents. They're warning signals of a growing naval chess match, and the US Navy is central to all of it. Let's start off near Japan. On July 24th, Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force identified a Chinese naval vessel numbered 841, some 205 nautical miles west of Amami-Oshima, near the East China Sea. According to naval analysts, it's most likely a Type 925 submarine support ship, nearly identical to the Changdao 867 class. These ships are equipped for deep-sea rescue, submarine salvage, and undersea recovery missions. Why is this significant? Because China doesn't send these ships this far east unless submarines are involved. Their presence usually signals an extended underwater operation, possibly involving the nuclear attack subs or ballistic missile submarines. And here's where the US Navy comes in. These are the same waters where US submarines from Guam, Hawaii, and Yokosuka routinely operate. The fact that China is deploying support assets here signals an effort to mirror US undersea reach, or challenge it. This may not be a direct threat, but it's a tactical probe, testing how far they can go and how long they can stay. Now, to the Western Pacific. France's flagship, the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle, R-91, has just completed part of its Clemenceau 2025 deployment, one of its longest missions in decades. During its transit through the Luzon Strait, between Taiwan and the Philippines, it was shadowed by a Chinese Type 054A frigate. Satellite imagery also suggests the Chinese carrier Shandong may have been deployed nearby, out of port. That means China was watching, following, and reacting. Let's put that in context. The Charles de Gaulle is France's only aircraft carrier, powered by 2 nuclear reactors, with a capacity of about 30 aircraft, including Rafale M multi-role fighters and E-2C Hawkeyes for airborne early warning. It cost roughly $4 billion, and though it's smaller than American supercarriers, it's a serious blue water platform. But perhaps more importantly, it represents Europe's will to project military power in a region where the US Navy leads, but cannot be everywhere. And that brings us to one of the most telling moments of the deployment. During the mission, the Charles de Gaulle conducted joint exercises with the USS Carl Vinson, one of the most battle-ready Nimitz-class supercarriers in the US Navy's arsenal. The Vinson can carry over 65 aircraft, including F-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers, MH-60 Seahawks, and more. It is the heart of Carrier Strike Group 1, usually home-ported in San Diego or forward deployed to the Pacific. The ship's original construction cost exceeded $4.5 billion, but its real value is deterrence. The US Navy didn't just host France. It operated shoulder to shoulder, reinforcing the message that the Indo-Pacific is not China's sphere of influence. And remember, the US Navy trains for this exact scenario: long-range power projection, multi-carrier ops, contested sea lanes. China watched closely because this is the future it's preparing to challenge. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for what's coming next. Also participating in these exercises was Japan's JS Kaga, a ship that's undergone a silent transformation. Originally classified as a helicopter destroyer, the Kaga has now been retrofitted to support F-35B stealth fighters, giving Japan the closest thing it's had to a true aircraft carrier since World War II. With a length of 248 meters and a flight deck capable of launching vertical takeoff aircraft, the Kaga now serves as a forward-deployed force multiplier, fully interoperable with U.S. Navy and Marine Corps assets. For American viewers, this matters deeply. Japan's shift toward power projection, under direct coordination with the U.S., reflects the deepening alliance architecture in the region. China sees it too, and their reaction? Constant shadowing, aggressive radio calls, and now, undersea presence close to Japan's doorstep. So, what do we have? A Chinese submarine support vessel near Japan, a French nuclear carrier shadowed in the Pacific, a full-blown U.S. Navy carrier strike group conducting joint ops, and Japan emerging as a stealth maritime power. This is not business as usual. What we're seeing is a coordinated, multinational naval posture forming in real time, and China's response is clear. Observe everything, test boundaries, and quietly push back. To put it bluntly, the Indo-Pacific is no longer a peacetime ocean. It's a strategic battleground where carriers, destroyers, submarines, and satellites are all in play. As of now, the United States Navy maintains the most powerful and far-reaching carrier fleet in the world, with 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, several of which are forward deployed across critical regions. In the Pacific alone, carriers like the USS Ronald Reagan, based in Yokosuka, Japan, and the USS Carl Vinson, often operating out of San Diego or Guam, provide immediate response capability across the entire Indo-Pacific theater. Meanwhile, others like the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower and USS Gerald R. Ford rotate through deployments in the Atlantic and Middle East, ensuring that no global flashpoint is beyond reach. This global posture is what sets the U.S. Navy apart. It's not just about having the most carriers, it's about having them in the right place, at the right time, with the readiness to act. And in a world where deterrence is everything, that presence is not symbolic, it's strategic. For Americans, especially those with ties to the Navy, this is not a distant issue. The U.S. has treaty obligations in the region, with Japan, with the Philippines, with Australia. Carrier groups don't just deploy to show the flag. They maintain freedom of navigation, protect trade routes, and reassure allies that America still leads at sea. China's recent moves show that they're not waiting for a conflict to escalate. They're already testing endurance, reactions, and presence. And as we saw this week, whether it's with a shadow frigate or a sub-rescue ship, they're watching us as closely as we're watching them. The question now is simple. Are we prepared to keep leading, or are we ceding control of the world's most critical waters? Subscribe for more in-depth analysis, because in today's world, naval power is not just history, it's the future.